How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
Is this on, Jack?
Do I sound okay?
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Chris and Ashton. What'd you do this week, buddy?
Good evening, sir. I was down in Monterey, in Carmel, and it was funny. My DMs kind of blew up. I mean, blowing up for me is just kind of like a normal person. I think I had 6 or 7 people respond to my story, be like, no golf? Not here for golf? No golf on the agenda? Which was just, I was laughing because Liz was like, who keeps DMing you? I'm like, everyone's down here assuming I'm playing some kind of golf, whether it's PG Links or Poppy Hill or something. And there was no golf on the agenda, didn't bring the sticks, but did a lot of kind of observation, doing 17-mile drive. Really, it was actually my first time doing that. And it's never not like, I can just tell no matter how many times I do that, getting to see a little bit of Cypress. I got to see I saw actually like the clubhouse at Cypress and almost wrecked the car. Tried to take a picture and couldn't get my camera out.
It sneaks up on you. Like you just drive on past it and it's just like, oh, it's right there.
Yeah, well, I saw it kind of looked like an old house and cars, and it was like Cypress Point members only. And I was like, oh my God. Tried to grab my phone, but couldn't do it. But yeah, just cool to be. I kind of feel like I got enough golf in the sense of I saw the Hay, the new par 3 course, saw Pebble, got to kind of stand. Kind of surprised as Nick put in a text message, he's like, I'm surprised they let you get that close without swiping your credit card. It did feel that way. Like they let
you basically can roam the grounds of Pebble without anybody ever like asking you. Like you could really bring a putter out and just start putting on their putting green.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it seemed more welcoming than expected, except we tried to take you up on the bench and we're like, hey, you want to grab a drink? And they're like, unfortunately, because we're so busy, you're going to have to buy dinner. And I didn't even bother to look at the menu because I was like, I don't want to pay $70 for salmon,
Yeah. That's where you're at.
Yeah, but it was a lovely weekend. We had a great time, and I think what honestly kind of left me most wistful was we were stopping quickly at the bathroom on the way out of town, and I think it was number 17, the par 3 at PG at Pacific Grove Links, and just like everything I wanted. We're sitting on a bench. There's some guys one guy's wearing cargo shorts, not my vibe, but cool. One guy's got jeans kind of tucked in, and they had some good shots. I was kind of giving them some crap because the wind was directly behind them. They all headed over the green, and I was like, I had them like just club down, like, oh, they're here on like a bachelor party and stuff. So I don't know, just a lovely weekend with Liz, but definitely kind of one of those weekends where seeing 6 or 7 golf courses from afar. And shout out to Ian, just on his Instagram. I saw Ian was having I think he played 4 rounds like Quail Lodge. I'm like, Ian's like a mile that way playing all these golf courses, but wouldn't have done it any differently. But cannot wait to get back down there to tee it up, because not only is that a special place, but good Lord, it's just like a golf treasure trove,
It is pretty freaking insane when you go out there, especially if you haven't roamed the area too much. You just peek at all these places, and every golf course out there is immaculate. I would say there's only one course in the greater Carmel, Monterey, seaside area that I wouldn't recommend. And I've said this in other podcasts, and that'd be Laguna Seca. Fortunately, that Jones track has just been beat up and tormented for years, and nobody's taken care of it. And it's just, the beaten stepchild out in that area. But every other course you can possibly get to out there is incredible. I love it.
I think too, the beauty also too of in such a small area, all the price points, right? $40-$50 to play PG, 100, 120 to play Poppy, but worth every penny. And then of course, the more expensive courses,
$80 to $100 to play Bayonet and Black Horse. And to be honest, if you double loop those 2 courses since they're on the same property, it is probably the deal of the century when you go out into Monterey and play those style of courses, because both of them are incredible layouts. And for under $200, usually you can get out there with a cart and play both of them, in one day. incredible. And then, I mean, Del Monte's great. I mean, you could go on forever about how many great courses are out there. It's incredible. I mean, we're spoiled by having that only a few hours away.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, the only thing to share on mine as far as golf is played another 9-hole round with Nate and Chris, two guys I never played with in RGC. Had a really good time with them, and I got to give a shout out to my mom. I got to the pro shop, and this isn't a drive-by shooting of the Presidio, but I've had some issues because the tee time is in my name, they've double charged me a couple times. It's not really their fault, but I'm just kind of been going back and forth. I go to sign in and they're like, oh no, actually 3 of you have already checked in. And I was like, no, we haven't. There's 2 guys here. One guy can't come. We haven't paid. One guy walks up and just goes, oh, are you Ashton? I was like, yes. It's like, oh, your mom called. She heard you're playing on some podcast and she just paid for your round. And I was like, that was very, very sweet. So, Mom, I know you're listening. Thank you for paying for my round last Thursday. That was very, very sweet. So, big shout out to my mom.
Oh, big shout out to Miss Moss. That is sick. I like that.
Such an epic move.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. I gotta get some free rounds out of my parents.
Yeah, so it was a lovely. We had excellent weather, 2 really nice guys, and Mom foot the bill. So thank you, Mom. So it was a lovely Thursday round. But you have been the opposite. You did not have a romantic weekend because wife is out of town, and you have been, instead of cleaning the house, apparently playing a whole bunch of golf, huh?
Yes. So I decided to be a horrible husband and not do the things that I was supposed to do, and got into trouble for them. And I apologize to my wife for that. But I got into a lot of golf over the last 4 days. First round, played with our buddy Munda, Rancho Solano out in Fairfield. Always a good time to go out there. That course always makes you feel so great because the amount of greens and regulations that you can hit out there is incredible because they're so large. The greens are so large. I mean, you'll hit a green in regulation, still have a 120-foot putt. These greens are huge. It is absurd how big the greens are at Rancho Solano. So if you ever are struggling with your accuracy or need a little bit of pickup and you're in the area, play Rancho Solano. It'll make you feel real nice when you look at your scorecard and you're like, wow, 13 greens in regulation. But I had 38 putts.
So speaking of large areas, where exactly is this course, Chris?
So Rancho Solano is kind of halfway in between the Bay Area and Sacramento in Fairfield, right off of Highway 80. Okay. So if you're going from San Francisco to Sacramento, you'd run right past it. It's not more than 5 to 10 minutes off the freeway. But Fairfield has 2 of the... I would say Fairfield of all cities should model the way that they have municipal courses after Fairfield. So Fairfield has Paradise Valley and Rancho Solano. And both of these courses are always in immaculate condition. The pace of play is usually always good there. And the layouts are really fun to play. You really can't say anything bad about them. And the price points are great. Customer service is really good. I mean, the way Fairfield does municipal courses is incredible. And they're both owned by the city. So, if any city's trying to learn how to run and operate municipal courses that are profitable, should stop in and see Fairfield, California, because they're killing it right now. Both of the courses are awesome. And then Saturday, day after that, went out, did a 36 loop with our boy Marvelous Marcus and producer Jack. It was incredible. Bennett Valley is just its own hidden gem in the Roner Park, Santa Rosa area. They unfortunately were having some issues with the city. The city had some dumbass company come out and do an evaluation on properties in the city and claimed that the actual what they did, they basically did this evaluation during COVID. So the evaluation basically stated that the golf course wasn't worth as much as the property because the restaurant was closed. And the restaurant was closed because of COVID. So, I mean, the evaluation was kind of, wonky from the beginning. And so the city basically said that they were going to sell the property to a developer and turn it into homes. So the golf course itself and its community went ape shit on social media and outreach through emails. And they had an insane gathering and following of people that came in support of the golf course. And it was beautiful to see because this golf course has some of the coolest history from what I've been told. And again, this could be folktale, you never know when you're on a golf course when you're being told things. I've played out there about 5 or 6 times and I've heard similar stories from multiple people. But the story of the golf course is it was built in the 60s, renovated in the 80s by the groundskeepers. So they had 3 scratch golfers that were the head groundskeepers out there in the 80s. And the course was kind of leaning into the disrepair side of things. So the groundskeepers were warranted with a small budget to go out and kind of fix the course. So they focused on the green specifically. And so every single green at Bennett Valley is kind of like a 3-point star shape. And there's 3 sectors on every green that they have meticulously placed pins in each of those sectors depending on the day that you play it. And it's gotta be some of the best designed greens from an unknown source that I've ever played. I mean, these greens could have been designed by some of the most famous golf course architects in history, and I would have been, yep, that's who designed them. But it was designed by 3 groundskeepers in the 80s, and they are even Marcus, who has played pretty much everywhere. It basically said this was his first time playing Bennett Valley, and he said he'll be back absolutely. He said the green complexes were some of the funnest, experiences you've ever had putting on a surface. It's just a really fun course, and the people that run it are spectacular. Pace of play is really good. We started at 7:06 and we finished right around 11. So just at 4 hours. And we, after that, we had another 18 at a course called Windsor. Windsor's really got some cool history because they used to have the Nike Tour, which would have been kind of like the Corn Ferry back in the day. And so they hosted the Nike Tour there for years. It's kind of a resort course, but not. They have a Wyndham Resort on property, but they don't own the golf course. So it's kind of a weird, situation. You drive through a bunch of rental properties when you enter the golf course, and the golf course kind of designed really, really wonky, where you start and finish, because the clubhouse is all the way over across this bridge, and then the driving range is all the way on the other side of the parking lot. So it's kind of a wonky design in that aspect. And then they have a really big restaurant kind of over by the driving range. So it's an interesting kind of little layout that they have. But Windsor was a really challenging course. The wind picked up on us, and it was absolutely brutal because there's a lot of elevated tee boxes that force you, especially in a wind like that, to try to hit low balls or hit shots that you're going to try to stay out of skying them up and hitting them high. So it really challenged you throughout the day, and the greens were in very good shape. I wouldn't say they were as fun as they were at Bennett Valley, but they were still challenging and difficult. A lot of dog legs and hidden mounds that kicked your balls left and right that you really couldn't tell that are in the middle of the fairways, and that really created challenges as well. I love a good placement of like a mound or rough in the middle of the fairway that causes a little bit of issue without having to put a sand trap in the middle. There's always really creative ways, like we were talking about at Soul Park, where Gil kind of throws that mound in the middle of the fairway on the hole on the fifth hole, where they have sixth hole where they have the bowl at the end in the green. And it's a really, really fun course. I mean, it was a beautiful 36 holes. We did come across the biggest jackass we've ever dealt with in our life. And the last 6 holes were absolutely fucking miserable because of this guy. So this guy, so we're waiting to tee off before our round even starts. We're kind of just playing some putting games on the putting green, just to kill some time because we're a little early. And this guy is just jamming on his phone, just going up and down the sidewalk, just going off on somebody on the phone. It was very distracting. We're all like, oh my God, this guy's on one. And then he goes and sits in his cart, and it's just like going at it on somebody on the phone. So we're like, thank God we're teeing off. We're gonna get separated from this guy. Lo and behold, he is the group behind us. So luckily, we don't really see him or have to deal with him until probably the 13th hole. And on the 13th hole, we're waiting to tee off. And it's a short par 4, so we're gonna have to wait a little bit. And he rolls up onto the par 3 prior to the hole that we're now waiting on. And none of us paid attention, but I guess he hit a shot somewhere close to the hole on the green. He's like flipping out, like yelling at us to look at him. And we're like, what the hell is going on with this guy? He is completely on one. And then we all look at his cart. This dude has the biggest cooler. You could fit a 1-year-old child in this cooler. This thing is so large. It sticks up almost to the height of the top of the golf cart. It's this giant red igloo cooler. And so Marcus invites his buddy out, Ari, who is the starter and checks people in at Sharp Park and also works at San Francisco Golf Club. And so he's out there playing with us. So Ari decides to fuck with him a little bit. And he's like, hey, bud, what's in your ice chest? And so that just starts up a whole nother can of worms. So this guy then goes off and goes, oh, I only got like 3 beers left, and 2 of them are for this guy. And you know what? Fuck it. I'll give you one of these. Okay, come over here. I'll give you one. Okay, come on over here. He's just flipping out. We're like, oh my gosh, Ari, you started something. So this guy throws Ari a beer. He's like, thanks, man. Pops it open. Then Jack tees up the ball. And he goes, oh, look at these fucking guys. They thinking they're going to hit the green from here. We're like, what is happening right now? So Jack's like trying to ignore it. He tees off, and Jack hits kind of a little wayward one off to the right. And he goes, see, I didn't know why you waited. And he's like, we're just like, what the hell? So I tee up. I hit one, look pretty straight. And he goes, oh, look at that guy. I like this guy. And we're just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And now Marcus teed up. And Marcus, if he is not about characters like this. So Marcus, you could tell in his demeanor, everything, he is just like, oh, this guy just needs to just keep to himself. He is on one. So Marcus tees up and he goes, oh, look at this guy. And then Ari hits one and it wasn't great. It was, off to the left. And he goes, these fucking guys I don't even know why you guys are waiting. And he's giving us all this shit. And we're just like, let's just fucking go. So we just grab our shit. We start going. We finish the hole and we're just like, okay, there's a little backup on the next hole as well. And we're like, shit. And it's another par 3. It's like basically par 3, par 4, par 3. And if everybody knows on golf course, that is the recipe for a halt in your round. And so we get to the next par 3 and we're just like, please finish the hole so we don't have to deal with this guy. This guy is driving all over the golf course. So Marcus and Ari tee off. We look back. This dude parks his cart on the green. I'm not shitting you. He is on the green at this point. He got himself in a bunker, and we proceed to watch him hit 3 bunker shots, slamming his club into the side of the bunker, screaming and hollering. And so me and Jack are just like, all right, we need to tee off.
So you're playing with Sergio.
Oh, my God. This dude is just throwing a fit. And at this point, I'm like, I almost think we need to, report this guy for drunk driving when leaving the parking lot. This dude isn't safe to leave. I mean, it's out of control right now. And so Jack tees off and doesn't go well. It's a little short. There's like a little lake that we have to hit over, and hits it into the lake. And I do the same thing because I think at this point we're just like, neither one of us are paying attention or focused on anything. And I think the whole group is at this point just so over this guy. We just want to separate ourselves as fast as we can. So we run to the drop section, hit balls real quick, finish up the hole, get over on the par 4. We don't see this guy for another hole. So the next hole that we see him on, it's a par 4 dogleg left that you have to hit over water to hit onto this green. So then you have to cross this bridge to get over to the green. This guy, we're over there. We're finishing up our putts. The tee box is off to the left of it. You have to hit through some trees and then go back over the bridge and go around the other side. I'm the only one in a cart. So I do what normal people do, and you pull around the roundabout that is back there on the other side of the bridge, and I park the correct way where you go right around the roundabout like a normal fucking person, and I park. So I leave them enough room to pull up behind me. These guys come in head first onto the left, park right up on me, proceed to go. This drunk guy proceeds then to go, I hate these guys' vibes are really messing with me. He is complaining about us and our vibes. Us.
What are the vibes? Did you park correctly?
We have never said one word to this guy other than what Ari said at that one tee box. None of us have said one word to this guy up to this point. And we're just like, what the fuck is happening? And so I have to fucking do this backup maneuver, go around the other side. It was just a fiasco. And then the guy catches us again. And I just turn to him and I say, look, you need to just back up. We're just trying to finish our round. This isn't worth it. Just stay where you're at. Luckily, the guy doesn't really approach us. We finished 18, but it completely derailed our entire round. It was so ridiculous. I don't even know how to explain it. And it's one of those guys where it's just you couldn't say anything to him because it would have just aggravated the situation and made it worse. So we really just had to mind our business and kind of just ignore him. And Other than that, Windsor was great, but holy shit, that guy completely derailed the last 6 holes. I think not one of us parred the last 4 holes. It was just
it's really tough when someone kind of interjects themselves and it changes the whole vibe. That's really tough. It's like the woman when we to share a story that's nothing to do with golf. It's like when we were in Carmel this weekend, like we're walking around and there's, Bentley SUVs and just feeling pretty out of place, and stopped real quick to sit down because my coffee was too hot on some stairs. And I was about to make a joke about, of course someone's going to walk by. It's like it's like an office upstairs on Saturday. And this woman walks by and she goes, "Excuse me, these stairs are not a place for someone to be hanging out." And I thought about trying to say something, and I was like, you know what? Like, I just kind of walked away. So I'm just trying to interject with my non-golf story, but the point is, like,
get in a fight with a Karen.
No, I think, but that's the hard part is like whether it's, trying to sit on some stairs real quick or that. It's just tough when people choose to like interject themselves, and it kind of just leaves like a black cloud. Because for the next like 30 minutes, I was kind of not quiet, but it's like, I just like, why do people feel the need to like kind of punch? I don't know. It just really weird. And also so weird to have him say that y'all are affecting his vibes. Like, what do you want you to do? Like crush beers and start like punching each other? Like, I don't know. That just doesn't.
I don't know what
like
vibes we were giving off other than enjoying our round, but I mean, this guy was just on one. I mean, you could tell he had a 30-pack in that fucking cooler, and he was down to 3 or 4 by the 13th hole. So he was pounding a beer and a half a hole. So this guy definitely was beyond drunk at that point.
Yeah,
it was definitely a tester. And then today,
wait, before you keep going, I had a couple follow-up questions.
Yes.
One serious, one less serious. Going back to the greens you mentioned at what's the one that's got the star, Bennett Valley. I'm curious, just your take. I don't know. You probably don't know. Like, were those, like, was that because those superintendents do the course so well that they built those greens in such a cool way? Or do you think they were just sort of like, savants who like hopefully wish they'd build other courses? Like, I don't know that you know that, but it feels like there's some like lore there. And I'm just curious if you guys found anything out. Like, is it just because those guys knew that land so well? Sort of kind of like the Sweetens guys, or was it more of like, no, like these guys were actually great and they just kind of designed these one set of green complexes? Not a fair question, but just curious.
To be honest, I think it's the second. I really think they just, really played a lot of golf, saw a lot of courses. And I mean, it's kind of like the McClay Kidd situation. He didn't really have any experience. He's seen a lot of courses, he's experienced a lot, but never really built one before. And I think that's kind of the same situation with these guys, is they've experienced a lot and they created these greens to have such great contours to where wherever the hole is placed in those 3 sectors, you can kind of hit it off different hills and different slopes, and your ball will roll towards the hole on each of these sectors. It's almost like, these guys really made it for a fantastic like match play or skins type situation, because if the course, it's gonna really benefit you. Kind of like I've played it 6 times and I had 27 putts. I was destroying it. I mean, I hit 4 putts over 30 feet, 1 putts over 30 feet. And I'm not claiming that I was having an out-of-body experience with putting at Bennett Valley. It was absolutely incredible. It was irritating the hell out of Jack and Marcus. But with those type of greens, if you really know the course and know how they play, it's a really, really enjoyable and fun way to go. And like you were talking about, I really think these guys I think they just had a lot of experience and got to go out and create what they thought would be fun to play. And to be honest, it's some of the best greens ever. Like I'm telling you guys, if anybody's in Santa Rosa, stop in and play Bennett Valley, because They are absolutely, and every single green is exactly the same type of way. They don't play the same, but they're all kind of like a 3-pointed like triangle almost, and they have different like, sunken in sectors on each like tier, and it's just such a great design, and it gives the course a very, very flexible situation with pin placements and rotations. And when you're doing tournaments, you've got your 3 sectors that you can rotate through. It's really, really cool.
That's awesome. I mean, I think that we need something we've talked a lot about, something we're going to do at Bandon is just like, we all need to play stroke play to get a handicap. Like, I think everyone needs a proper handicap to know, as far as like, playing. But I think we as Americans need to be playing way more match play, just way more match play. And I think the courses, I mean, this is obviously very private, but I mean, one of the courses, very honestly, I want to play most in the world is Ohoopee Match Play Club. Like they built an entire golf course where it's with match play in mind. And I really love that idea. And so I'm not trying to compare Ohoopee to, Bennett Valley, but I just love the idea of, institutional knowledge focused on match play. I love that. And also too, just sort of love kind of a good local lore around just like guys who knew golf and knew this area. So, okay, that's the serious question. The other question, just have to ask, I assume you had a hot dog at both places. How were they?
Did not have a hot dog at Bennett Valley. They didn't have, so they, like I was talking about earlier, they don't have their
kitchen,
their restaurant and kitchen up yet. So while we were leaving, they actually had a caterer coming out, setting up a barbecue and everything, and doing kind of their own outside version of it. But
Terralago, Mr. Worldwide.
Yes, not just like Terralago Worldwide. But we skipped out and we had like 3 hours in between rounds. So we went to Russian River Brewing, had some Pliny's, some really good food, some bruschetta, little Caesar salad action. It was a great stop. Nice little outdoor patio area. Beautiful. Great stop. Great little in between. We almost went and played Northwood. We were this close from jumping to Northwood in between, but it would have been cutting it close. We would have been showing up, 10, 15 minutes prior to our tee time at Windsor, and I think we would have just been beat. Especially when we ran into Asshole. I would have hit him with a golf club. If I had to play another 9 prior to that, I would have been so tired at that point. But
no, that's the way to do it. You did it right.
We did it right. We had a nice little rest in between. It was perfect.
Yeah.
But
okay, cool. Today. Tell me about today.
Today was cool. So this couple is traveling the United States. They have an Instagram called The Way Golf, and they're documenting their travels through Instagram and then also through YouTube as well. They've got their first full episode comes out on Friday. Really, really cool couple from Texas. He's in a metal band. He's traveled, heavily with that band. And just fell in love with golf. Worked at a private club out in Texas. Decided that he just wanted to, do this travel. So he quit and decided to, travel across the country. And, they stopped in Vegas and a few other places. And, they were in Cupertino and they posted that they were looking for somebody to play around with. So I hit him up, said, do you have any tee times or anything set up? And he said, no, I don't know too much about golf in the Bay Area, but it seems really expensive from what I've, looked at. And I said, well, the right guy hit you up. Let me find us a tee time and find a cool course that's going to give you kind of the Bay Area experience, but on a budget. So I did my little research and was able to score a tee time from Monarch Bay, which is great course in St. Leandro. We've talked about it in the pod in the past. So they came out Dustin and Whitney, like I said, really, really spectacular people. I had such a great time with them this morning. And we teed off, played in 3.5 hours. Great, fast round. Super stoked on that. People will let us play through. It was spectacular morning. And they were just blown away by the views that you get at Monarch Bay. We paid $45 with cart. I mean, insanely good deal. It's a weekday, so you're gonna get a little bit better pricing, but it's right on the water. So anybody that hasn't played Monarch Bay, we've talked about it in the past a little bit. It's right on the peninsula. It's absolutely beautiful views. You can see all the way into the city. You can see the Bay Bridge. You can pretty much see all the bridges other than the Golden Gate throughout the entire peninsula. It's absolutely beautiful out there. And so we had a blast. He was telling me about the guys in Texas, Artisan Golf, who he's friends with, and they designed a lot of the Nike clubs for Tiger Woods. And me being a club geek, we bonded kind of over equipment and stuff like that. So really, really enjoyable morning. Enjoyed hanging out with Dustin Whitney. It was spectacular. I had a great time with them. But then we also have a little bit of adjustment with our Oregon trip, little announcement. So we had to adjust a little bit. Andre, the owner of Coos Bay, hit us back up to this last week. And he said, "Hey, I'm so excited to have you guys come down. I kind of have this idea if you guys are open to it." And so he hits up and says he has an alternative routing for his golf for Coos Bay that he wants to play with us after we play 18 holes with him if we're down. So, of course, you don't get many opportunities to just be able to like go out on a golf course with the owner and play, this random routing that he's created. So we were like, absolutely, we're fucking down for that. I mean, can't say no to that at all. Like, thank you, Andre. That's going to be a fucking blast. So stoked on that. So we're going to, instead of playing Florentine Links and Coos Bay, we're going to now play Coos Bay and hang out there with Andre for the entire day and have an enjoyable time. Play Florentine Links the next day. And we're kind of now going back and forth. I've got a really good friend who works at the OGA as a general manager out there, which is the Oregon Golf Association golf course, and big public golfer. So we want to get out and play with him as well. So on Sunday, since we're only going to have one Portland round, now we're thinking either we're going to play OGA with him, or we might stick with our original plan and still get in the Muni of all Munis at Eastmoreland. So kind of a little alternate, a little bit of a change again, but always going to be enjoyable, especially with my boy Ashton. This trip is going to be epic no matter what the circumstances are. And Andre just seems so fucking pumped to have us down there. So I can't wait to get to Coos Bay after we play Bandon.
That's going to be awesome. And we just really appreciate them taking care of us like that and to get to experience the golf course in a different way. I mean, it sounds very similar, actually. One thing I can't wait to do with you when we do make it to Sweetens, I've never done it, but there's kind of the Illuminati holes where you're teeing off. Like there's very similar things at Sweetens, but kind of the same idea. Like love these courses where it's like making up holes, kind of like we did, Chris. Like, do you remember at Sandpiper, right? There was that one hole we were waiting and we kind of hit towards we invented a hole. It was like 125 yards. You were hitting back to the par 5.
Yeah.
I think that stuff's just super fun. So that's going to be great. And then as far as upcoming this week, I'm excited. I mean, I think Jack is going to listen to this and start shaking with fury, but playing Calif on Saturday, finally. Me and Hussey, we played Presidio just probably 2 months ago. We got paired with a random twosome, Evan and Ryland. two just really, really nice guys, good golfers, knew all about, like, not only knew a lot about no laying up, but they knew Neil from no laying up to the point where Neil created a discount code for just them. I think it was like Presidio Fuckboys, I think it was. Can confirm it doesn't work anymore, but like that's the level of like they knew them. So like just like immediately connected with them, and we've been trying to play with them a bunch. And we're actually playing Calif with them. So me, Hussey, and the two of them. So, but I mean, I've heard so much about Calif. I mean, I think it's like Jack used to be the mayor of Carica. I feel like now he's the mayor of Calif. So really excited to finally get out there and get a little Saturday morning round. So any golf on the horizon for you, or are you going to be cleaning the house?
You know, I'm pretty open this week. I have some coaching duties going on in the middle of the week, and so I'm taking it easy. I don't have anything planned. If something pops up on the weekend, I might jump on it. But I have some big plans coming next week, especially with you're going to join in the tail end of it. But and we'll talk about this more next week on the pod. But I'm going to be playing with Juan, and forgot who else is joining us there. One of the other RGC guys is going to come join us. But we're going to play Lincoln in the morning, and then I'm going to loop Golden Gate Park until it is dark after Lincoln.
I'll be there for Golden Gate Park.
Yeah, so you're going to join me for Golden Gate Park, and I'm stoked for that. But we are going to – I'm sorry, Tucker's going to be joining us at Lincoln. So Lincoln and then Golden Gate Park, and then Juan has coaching at 5, but I'm going to keep going. So anybody that's in the city that listens to the pod that wants to join me next Wednesday, I will be in the city at Golden Gate Park probably from – 2 or 3 o'clock till probably 7. So
yeah,
if you want to come and join me
or something.
Yeah. And they've got some local beers as well at the course. So make sure every time you loop it, grab another beer. It's a great, great short course. If you haven't played Golden Gate Park, please go out there and play it. If you want to, please DM us on MuniciPals Golf on Twitter or Instagram, and we will definitely get you guys connected. I would love to get some of our listeners out there that might not be some of the RGCSF guys. No offense, guys. Yeah. We love you, but we'd love to get some of our randos out there that listen to us and join us on this trip. So anybody out there, come out next Wednesday. Let's get it in.
And the other thing to mention too is, in the same way that Chris just told that amazing story, just another plug for if anybody is, if you're standing on the tee and have a man who's drinking 30 beers, please record your feelings that moment and send it to us. We would love to feature you on the podcast because, man, the idea of drinking 30 beers and playing golf, stuff would go sideways pretty fast for me. But hey, some people can drink more than others.
We would love some audio
to that guy.
But please record that. Send us the audio, through Instagram, or if you need our email, we'll definitely hook you up with our MuniciPals email, and you can send it through that. Just hit us up on social media. We'd love to get those onto the pod as well. That would be a fantastic segment to start getting our listeners on. All right, Ash, I think that's it for tonight. Can't wait to see you this week. We're gonna get together a little bit later this week, but good chatting with you, buddy.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you soon.
All right, take it easy, bud.